Hey traders, it's John Howell here, and today I want to do a technical analysis update. And today I want to view something different, and that is going to be using the indicators, also the charts. I don't normally look at indicators, and I don't trade with indicators, but sometimes they can give us a bit of a view of, are we starting to build some strength to the bullish side? What's going on there? So the indicators may be giving us some warning sign of what's happening within the gold and silver, and also the mining stocks as well too. So I'm going to be sharing with you we could be getting some divergences. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, before I do get started, make sure you head on down to johnslivetraining.com, because I'm running a brand new training. It's a masterclass, webinar class, and it's on my number one most powerful trading system for the last 16 years. If you'd like to learn all the details and steps to my number one trading system that works on all markets, whether if you trade in the mining stocks and you want to trade the hourly charts or the daily charts, or you're trading crypto or just normal stocks and you're looking for an amazing trading system, then go to johnslivetraining.com, or there should be a link in the description. Go join my next training. You're going to absolutely love it. Now, let's go on through here. Oh, by the way, guys, when I'm finished with this training, at the end of this training, I'm going to also be I did a training a while ago, actually the last few weeks, and it was based on the biggest mistakes that I've made when it comes to my trading, and the things that I should be thinking about when trading the markets. Anyway, you're gonna love that extra little bonus. Look at that extra bonus training that I got at the end of this training here. So it's one massive training for you. So today, right now, for me, is a good old Saturday, and I'm just doing my analysis. I'm just like, I can't wait for Monday. Before, I used to hate Mondays. Monday's just like, oh my goodness, why is it Monday for? Because I'm a trader, right? I'm a full-time trader. I'm in these markets. I'm just like, here we go. Let's make some money. Let's make some good money. Because for me, guys, just so you guys know, for me personally, if you're looking at for me as a trader, I trade all types of markets. I'm a trader of all markets. Whether it's sort of shorter term plays. Where, say for example, if I look, say for like a short term example, he was a trade that I did last week, but this was on the Australian market, right? We had sideways, and we had this breakaway bar here, and I shorted it, and obviously that was the trade there. Not only that, but we also he was a beautiful gold trade that I did last week. This was on the 15-minute chart, and it was a very short-term, what I call cash generator, where in and out very, very quickly. I was in on the close of this bar here and out the very next bar. That's all it was, because that's all the trade was, is because of that. So the purpose of me telling you this, right, is because I'm a trader of all markets. I'm a trader of the 15-minute charts, the hourly charts. I'm an active trader, right? Because that's what I do. That's where the bulk of my money is made, from trading. And obviously then I share some stuff with you guys. And then obviously I have my good old private clients on the side there as well too. But the purpose of me telling you this is that I cannot wait I cannot wait for the volatility to pick back up on Monday, right? Because whether I'm looking on an intraday basis, or whether I'm looking at the Australian market, or here, look at this beautiful trade here, right? On the breakaway bar on the downside, I entered there, and long-term support was my target there. Look at that beautiful trade. This was a foreign exchange trade that I did not that long ago. So I could show you trade after trade after trade after trade after trade after trade, guys, of trades that I've done. And again, the purpose of me showing you these trades here, these setups here, and again, if you actually want to learn this setup here, I'm not going to go into detail here because it takes me probably 20 minutes, and I want to get more into the mining stocks. But the purpose of me telling you this, again, go to John's Live Training, or click on the link in the description. I'll share with you exactly what that setup is amongst all those. It's the exact same pattern. But I cannot wait for Monday. All right, I seriously cannot wait for Monday of these markets. And you guys can do so well from trading. You really, 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 really can, right? You just need to you just have a really good setup that you believe in, and just follow that. That's the hard part, right? It's not the setup, it's following it. But if I'm looking at, say, silver right now, look what's happening with silver. If I squeeze my charts up and I've got two different types of indicators here. I have what I call the double stochastic. This is a double stochastic, okay? And you can see we have a slow stochastic here. That's very, very slow. And then we have the very, very fast one. I'm not going to get into details why. It's actually just something that I learned from my mentor. Again, guys, I don't use this to trade with, all right? It's not part of my trading system, but sometimes these indicators can give you divergences. It can give you a bit of strength of where things are building and what may be happening, right? But again, I don't trade with them because I think sometimes, there's a lot of things out there that like overbought and oversold signals, but I don't trade with them. Again, if I bring up my my trade I did last week on the Australian market, this here was the Australian market. You see, this is all I trade with. Now, sometimes I use the volume as well too, but this is basically it. A couple of moving averages and price only. That's all I use for me to have a good trade there. Anyway, but once again, guys, the stochastics here, and the bottom one is the RSI. Now, what I've got here, the RSI is I've got just the RSI of 14, and I've got a smoothing of 3. If you can see here, it's got a moving average of 3. And all I've done with the moving average is, let me actually go to here. Right, you can see here, all I've done with the moving average is I've just made the moving average here just a bit thicker. So instead of it being really, 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 really volatile, I just want it to smooth it out a bit. And then what I have is I have what I call a 52 moving average. There's moving average here on the RSI. I use it as a 52 moving average. And so I use it as a gauge of, okay, then if we start on the RSI, for me personally, I'm looking to see, okay, do we start to get some higher lows above here? If that's the case, we're starting to build some strength. If we start to get lower highs below here, we're starting to get a bit of a weakness into the markets. You know what I'm saying? Here, higher lows, bit of strength, and so on and so forth. A bit of higher low here, and you can see it started to build a bit of strength. That's what I look for. I look for the bit of divergences. So, but what I'm looking at right now is that, again, it doesn't mean we're not gonna see that down tomorrow or down next week. But what I'm looking at here is you can see how this market, you can see here that point there. If we do start to pick up, and this is actually the key, right? If we do start to see something like this next week, like that, guess what's going to happen here? We're going to pick up, which is going to be real big divergences on the stochastics. But look at the RSI. Look at this RSI. Look at the divergence already happening on the RSI. We're flattening through here, but we're already starting to build a bit of strength here on the RSI on the bottom. If I go to the gold chart, now the gold chart, the stochastics is actually run up really, really quickly, which actually is quite a bearish sign. You can see also, look what's happening with the RSI. The RSI is also building up really, really, really strong here. So we don't want to see gold actually break below here. We want to see gold actually continue up. So we're not really getting any divergence here happening with the gold chart. But let's actually go look at the GDXJ. And looking at this GDXJ chart, look at this here, right? So we had a bit of a pullback to support, but look what's happening here, right? Like we're not getting it yet on the stochastics. We could be getting a bit of a pullback here, but we're getting a potential little divergence happening there on the GDXJ. The GDX, again, same sort of thing, right? Is we rallied up. Are we about to get something like this coming soon, right? And then like a bit of a pullback. And then you can see same for here. We're getting like the small little divergences. So if we do get, we may get a little bit of a drop to the downside here on GDX. Same for the SILJ. We're getting that there. So if we do get like a little bit of a pullback, looks like there's like a bit of a short-term divergences happen. Look at this here on the RSI. Look at that there. We're starting to build a little bit of strength coming here on the RSI. There as well too, and also the SIL. So this is just something, guys, that I've just noticed when it comes to these markets here, that we start to get a little potential bit of a divergence, which actually is pretty powerful where we are right now in the markets. But what we want to see the divergence confirm, and we've got a small little divergence happening here With a small little divergence happening here on the RSI, but we haven't got it on the stochastics yet. But the divergence is looks like it may start to come into play, maybe even next week when it comes to these markets. So that's what I'm looking at through the traders. Once again, guys, this is just something that I'm noticing right now. It doesn't mean it's definitely going to start to rally to the upside straight away, but it is something that I'm noticing right now doing my analysis. And once again, guys, if I show you all my trades, whether it's a daily chart or a 15-minute chart, or any market out there, like here's another trade that I did just recently. This was on a 5-minute chart, right? Breakaway bar to the downside, and then a nice move down. That was actually a nice successful trade for me. There's so many trades that I can share with you. That just absolutely just look. Here's another beautiful, very short-term trade here. We had nothing going on. Nice breakaway bar, and then the start of the downward move for me as well too. Again, guys, if you'd like to learn that trading system, link in the description. I'll teach you all the details to that system. Now, guys, the purpose of the purpose of me telling you about this trading system or awareness is because I want to share with you that trading doesn't have to be that complicated. Right now, I'm looking at the divergence to see if there is any sort of maybe bullish case, right? Because I'm a bull, right? I'm a bull at heart with the mining stocks and gold and silver. So I'm looking for anything that could be a bullish sign, right? But I'm not going to trade based on the stochastics and the RSI. You don't need a lot of stuff, right? All you can do, like as you can see, all I have here is just simply just a chart, just a blank chart and one moving average. That's all you need, guys, to trade really successful. Again, on that training below, I'll teach you my number one trading system. There's so many amazing trades out there that have happened that you can just, absolutely just crush it in a big way. Some of them are short-term trades. Some of them are long-term trades. Here's another great trade that's happened. Nice little sideways movement, nice little breakaway bar. It was actually here in just a couple of days. That's all it was. But guess what? That couple of day movement there is like maybe 30-40% return on options, right? Couple of days, boom, boom, in, out. So guys, I'm seeing that I'm seeing on the mining stocks that we are potentially getting the divergence. If we do get a little bit of a kick up next week, that's going to start to confirm that divergence, and we may even start to see a bit of a movement back to the upside. Now, the big thing that you want to keep an eye out for, especially when it comes to silver mining stocks, is we want to see a technical rise above 50 here. All right, so if I go back, let me go back to just a simple blank chart here for a minute. All right, I'm going to bring up my trend line so you can actually see it here. So that's actually this. This is a chart without the indicators, and what we can see here is we can see we got rise, a rise, a rise. We want to see SIL break above 50. We want to see the SIL again start to break above 18. We want to see the GDXJ hold here and start to rally back up. And obviously that's the GDXJ. That was the GDX. This is the GDXJ. We want to see it hold and rally back up to start getting that divergence kicking in. So I hope this helps you out today, guys. What you're about to see right now before I do start, guys, before I let you go into that trading, make sure you go to johnslivetraining.com. I really want you to learn this trading system because it has helped me so much and it's so powerful. And so just go to johnslivetraining.com. There should be a link in the description there. You're going to absolutely love it. So go do that right now. And the training I'm about to share with you right now, this bonus training I'm about to share with you, is some of the biggest mistakes that I've made when it comes to my trading. And even and I'm going to talk a lot about when Donald Trump was elected, what was happening at that time, and how I almost lost $500,000 by trading something that I shouldn't have, the biggest mistakes that I made, and also the lessons that I learned. And also hopefully by playing this training for you, you're going to learn something as well too, and hopefully this is going to help you become a much better trader. Hope you enjoyed this rest of this training, guys, and I'll speak to you real soon. The last thing I want to talk about is how I almost lost $500,000 in one go, and the lessons that I really want to sort of impart on you, and things that I've just learned over my last 16 years of trading these markets. And this almost wiped me out, completely wiped me out, almost sent me bankrupt. Again, right? Back when I started 16 years ago, I went through a really bad period, and then I went through a bit of a really, really bad period as well too. I went through almost lost it, right? I turned around and actually made a nice positive profit by the end of it, but it was a really, really hard slug. And that was, looking at my charts right now, if I go back and have a look at this here, right now I'm looking at this period, which was the 2016 period. Now I really want to sort of stress something here. As if you remember back when the election was happening, if you were trading around that time, you would know what was happening around that time, right? We had so many people and so many institutions and everyone out there was screaming crash, right? This is it. The top's in. We're going to see we're going to see the mother of all crashes happen. It's all over. It's going to happen right now. Robert Kiyosaki came out and said it. Your mate Harry Dent came out and said it. Peter Schiff was saying it, right? Because guess what? At the time, I don't know why, but I had a brain hair idea. I'm like, you know what? I've been trading successfully up in that point for roughly around 9-10 years, somewhere under there, or maybe 8-9 years, somewhere under there. And I was trading successfully. How about I stop doing what I'm doing? How about I stop doing what I've been doing because it's actually been working? How about I stop doing what was working, which was just trading my system and having a good win-loss ratio and, kissing babies, making money every year, to then starting to look at all these big fundamentals, right? So I went to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So this brain hair idea, I thought, you know what? I need to learn the big macro fundamentals. I need to learn everything that goes into it. So I started looking at these people that I thought were smarter than me. These people have been doing it for 40, 50 years. Surely they know, blah, 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 right? And I started to sign up to subscriptions and look into everything and all this sort of stuff. And what ended up happening was one of the most worst things that I ever did at the time is that I became so sucked in to the narrative. I became so sucked into the very loud noises that everyone was doing. And this is where most successful investors have the ability to listen to the noise and do the opposite. Because the herd mentality is 99% wrong, or almost always wrong, right? Because they follow the sheep mentality is follow, right? Everyone, it's like if everyone is screaming something, then it's like it's all done, right? Like even last month of doing this recording, Bitcoin hit 65,000, and I had my gym mate who owns a gym saying, "Oh my goodness, I made so much money." I had another sort of person that I know who's a network marketing guy screaming, "Oh my goodness, Bitcoin, we know Bitcoin's just going to go up." And then I had a lady friend who she's more into like property stuff. She doesn't know anything about stock market. And guess what? She's now making money with Ethereum. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a bubble like no bubbles of hell, right? Because guess what? Everyone is now jumping on it. And the thing is, like, as you go, I've been through this a few times now in my life, and I'm like, I'm starting to see the patterns this time. So when everyone is screaming something at you, the smart investors do the opposite, all right? And so back to what was happening here around the 2016 time when the whole Trump election was happening, is guess what? Everyone, the narratives, the subscriptions, everyone I was speaking to, or everyone I was listening to, was screaming the same thing: crash. So I saw this. I'm just like, man, they all can't be wrong, can they? Now, again, guys, I'm a technical trader. That's how I've made my money from trading. Is technically I've made my money. I've looked at really good technical setups. I trade it. Some are losses because it's just a win-loss ratio, and you just got this part. There's a loss. Cool, move on. Most are profits. Rinse, recycle, repeat, and make money. That's how I make money every year, right? But I stopped doing that. Then I started listening to all these people that I thought were smarter than me. And this is actually a big thing to you guys, right? It's like no one knows what's going to happen. And in fact, if you want to do really, really, really well from trading or really well from these markets, one of the most important things to you, apart from having a system and a plan, is listening to the crowd and doing the exact opposite. And so, and doing that, again, at 2016 almost cost me so much money. But I learned from that, right? I learned from that. And so even like last year when the whole virus situation happened and everyone was screaming, this thing's going to hell, guess what I was doing? I was buying up stocks. Why? Especially I bought options in SPY, I bought options in Apple, in JP Morgan. Like I bought long dated options on all these stocks because I'm like, man, everyone's screaming crash. The world looks like it's about to fall apart. This is the time to buy. And you know what happened, right? Actually, within 2 weeks of actually doing that, especially on the SPY, we're actually rallying, and then we made new highs, and we know what happened from there. Contrarian investor, right? Listen to the crowd and going against it because they're always wrong. So 2016, when all that was happening, guess what I started to do? I started to load up literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of VIX options, aka when the market drops, my VIX is likely to spike. When that happens, I'm going to make a fortune. Oh my goodness, here we go. And then also, guess what I did? I started loading up hundreds of thousands of dollars on put options on the SPY. I'm like, man, I am going to become a 10 millionaire guy, right? Forget just becoming a 7-figure trader, and I've been there, done that. Cool. I want to become a $10 million trader, right? Here we go. And so I did this, right? It's like, oh my goodness. And I had around that time, it was close to $500,000 in negative positions on the markets or bearish positions on the markets around this time when the whole Trump election thing happened. And as you know, what ended up happening was we didn't really do much for a while, but when Trump was elected, it was about a week or two later, this started to happen and we started to break up to new highs. And I'm just like, this is not right. This is not right. This is not what I've been hearing. This is not what I've been seeing. And thank God that I had the position to be in a situation to say, you know what, I am wrong here. I need to get out. So I think I lost around at that time here with the VIX options and with the SPY options. I think I lost around about $150,000 on the 150 to 200 grand, somewhere around about that round. You know what? Let's just make it 200 grand, right? Just to make the story sound, worse than it really was. But it was still really bad, right? I still lost a lot of money at that time. But I'm very, very, very thankful that I went back to trading the way that I did, because I ended up making all that money back plus a little bit more. So I had a nice profitable year, but nowhere near that I'm normally, right? Because I had to make back 200 grand and then make back make another, another couple of six figures there just to make a nice profit for that year. Oh, otherwise that year could have been a $500,000 profit a year for me. But the big lessons that I really want to drive home there, guys, is that firstly, no one knows what's going to happen. In fact, in that free trading course that I'm giving away, in the link below, you'll be able to see that I talk about the biggest mistakes that most people make. And one of the biggest mistakes that probably you're making right now is going with the herd, because the market always does this. Whenever something seems to be really, really, really good and everyone's shopping on it, just a month ago with Bitcoin, everyone was talking about crypto. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's game over. And then look what happened. 50%, the whole thing halved from 65 down to 30. And we still may have more to go when it comes to crypto, right? And so as we look what happened last year. Everyone was screaming, pandemic, it's all over, it's done. Guess what? Buying opportunity, right? Buying opportunity. So if we're taking the same narrative right now when it comes to the actual stock market as of doing this recording, guess what are most people talking about right now? Are they saying, oh my goodness, I'm making so much money in the stock market. Oh my goodness, this is great. Or is the narrative right now, oh my goodness, this is the biggest bubble in history, we're gonna crash, and they start to look at facts and figures and spreadsheets and numbers and blah, 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 right? All the stuff. What are they doing? They're screaming what? Bubble, this is going to crash. Now, remember what I said before. Most people are wrong. The herd mentality are wrong. So whatever they're saying in the herd mentality, guess what? The opposite is true. So that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why I don't believe we're at the top of the stock market right now, and I believe we have a lot more to go, because we're not seeing there's amazing stories come out like we were just a few months ago with the crypto market. People making millions and millions of dollars, right? That's a bubble. Now that's a bubble. But in the stock market right now, when it comes to this S&P 500 or the Nasdaq, We're not hearing, oh my goodness, I made $1 million. Oh my goodness, I'm making so much money. We're not hearing the barber getting to the stock market yet. Right? So therefore, I believe we're nowhere near the top of the market yet. Now, probably in the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to start to hear that. And as a contrarian investor, it's so important to take that and say, you know what? If I'm long the market right now, this is my cue to sell. This is my cue to actually get out of my positions. And one of the reasons why I've done so well this year is because I've seen that mentality. This whole year, people are saying, you know, it's over, it's going to crash, and all this sort of stuff. So that is my story of how I lost almost $500,000. Because if I was a little pig-headed and said, no, I'm definitely right, as you can see, right, what ended up happening to the stock market, we went way up. I would have lost 100% of that option. All those options would have expired worthless. I would have been down $500,000 that year, and it would have been really, really bad. But what ended up happening was I flipped it where I got out for $150,000 to $200,000 loss. Still a big loss. I wasn't happy with it. But because the way that I trade the markets, I knew that I could make that back. And by the end of the year, I made that back plus a lot more. And so I still had an okay year, not a great year compared to what I normally do. And then I continue moving forward from there. So there we go, guys. This is the story of how I lost almost $500,000 in the markets. This here completely almost wiped me out.